Since the early 1990s, B&M has owned the title of being kind of the teacher's pet of amusement parks around the world. But is all that about to change? Thank you for checking out this video. We are Beach Cliff Studios. If you enjoy amusement park and roller coaster content just like this, please consider subscribing if you have not already. And a quick shout out to all our channel members, all these people here. They joined our channel membership and they get things like exclusive videos, pictures, shout outs, stuff like that, and they help out our channel a ton. For decades now, different manufacturers have risen to the top in popularity with amusement parks. It was in the 70s and 80s, you can say it was Arrow. A lot of those were being built. And then, like we said, since the 90s, it's been B&M.
Parks always looked at B&M as just kind of the very high quality and very safe option for coaster manufacturers. The general public always really likes them as they're never that intense, and they're known for being very reliable, which obviously is a good thing for amusement parks.
Yeah, so what we're talking about here is what the park's like, not necessarily enthusiasts like us and probably you, but the parks themselves. So they look at things like capacity, they look at variety, they look at what their maintenance team enjoys and has an easy time working on, stuff like that. And B&M checks all the boxes. Over the years, B&M has had Gigas, Hypers, Inverts.
I mean, there's so
tons of different models.
Yeah, I mean, so many parks around the world have some sort of B&M, whether, like you said, an invert, a hyper, a floorless, whatever. So many parks have some sort of B&M.
And a lot of them have, like a lot of bigger parks will even have two.
Yeah,
and it tends
even
to
more.
Yeah, and it tends to be bigger parks because these are not cheap roller coasters to build.
Yeah.
B&Ms can easily be $20+ million. So it's not like this is just a cheap option that amusement parks use in order to get a cheap roller coaster in.
B&M is always known for being very quality, which also means that the price tag is very high.
So you mentioned that they're known for being quality coasters, but over the past few years, that has kind of been changing. Now, for quite some time, what roller coaster enthusiasts have kind of called it affectionately was the B&M rattle. Anytime that you have an older B&M, you ride it and you get kind of like that shake on it, and it was just kind of known as a rattle, and it's something that older B&Ms just always tended to get. And that was fine with people, that was fine with parks or whatever, but now things have changed. With Iron Menace and Raptura, the launch wing coaster coming, it looks like a lot of these newer B&Ms are not only getting rattles faster, but also like having serious issues right away.
Like when Iron Menace first opened, the big thing that a lot of people were talking about was there was a big pothole at the end of, I'm pretty sure, the Helix at the end of the ride. And potholes are very uncharacteristic for B&M coasters. So when people first rode it, it was like, why is there a big pothole on this brand new B&M coaster?
And lots of video of the brand new Raptura launch wing coaster shows the launch, and then it kind of has like a bounce.
Yeah.
Now, this roller coaster hasn't actually opened to the public yet, so that might be something that ends up getting worked out
or maybe,
in the testing phase.
Or maybe you just don't feel it at all. But if you look at other launch wing coasters, you look at Thunderbird or Jumanji, you don't see the seats bouncing up and down like Raptura does. So it seems like something is definitely different about that launch.
So with all these problems that B&M is having, parks are obviously going to start to take notice, and that's going to leave room for a new manufacturer to come in and kind of take over. And we think that we know this new manufacturer. It's getting a brand new coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. Cedar Point, there's been a couple of family coasters put in at different parks. We're talking about Vekoma. Vekoma checks off all the boxes as far as what parks look for. They tend to be higher capacity. Some of them, they are very reliable.
Very smooth, very just high quality coasters, just smooth, good rides.
And they have a variety of different types of roller coasters that you can get. You can get different family models. You can get thrill sit-down coasters. You can do hypers with loops. You can do thrill inverted coasters.
Yeah, the STCs.
They have custom models that they can do. So Vekoma is throwing out a lot of different options. So if you're a park and you want more than one Vekoma, just like you might have more than one B&M, I think the door is completely wide open for that.
Now obviously Vekoma was very popular around the world in the 80s and 90s with all of their boomerangs that they build, and all their SLCs, because so many parks around the world have boomerangs and SLCs, but those rides are known for being just very, very bad rides. And then Vekoma just completely turned things around and started to get very popular again, but this time their rides are of much higher quality than those old boomerangs and SLCs. And parks in Europe and Asia have started building Vekomas constantly. Like, Vekomas have really been probably the most common manufacturer built in Europe and Asia, and that popularity is spreading so much, and now it's going to the United States as well.
For quite a few years now, we've been saying, like, when is the United States going to get like a full level, top-notch thrill Vekoma coaster? Down at Dollywood, they put Dragon Flyer, which was a family suspended coaster. And then you heard about a couple family boomerangs. So the family coasters started making their way into the United States.
Yeah.
But now with Siren's Curse and Flash and Circuit Breaker, the one down at Codaland, there are just more and more Vekomas. And then not to mention the one out at Six Flags Magic Mountain that was revealed about a week or so ago.
Yeah.
So Vekoma just moving into the United States. Now the disadvantage Vekoma has under a thing like B&M, a company like B&M, is that B&M manufactures their steel track within the United States in Ohio, and Vekoma has, I think they manufacture their track in China and Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
So there will be extra shipping costs, and I don't know if that'll add to the overall cost to these rides versus what a B&M coaster is. Overall, a lot of manufacturers like Intamin and stuff like that do manufacture overseas and still ship to the United States, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah. And if we look at the trend in Europe, we can see that so many parks just aren't building B&Ms anymore. With so many parks in Europe, how, like we were saying, so many parks have multiple B&M coasters. So many parks in Europe have so many Vekoma coasters. And like you were also saying before, Vekoma has so much variety in just all their models and all their different coasters that they have. Parks like Energylandia have so many Vekoma coasters, and they even have like 2 or 3 Vekoma family boomerangs there.
B&Ms have been being built, obviously, but at a lesser rate than in the past, and more Vekomas. So I think we're kind of in that shifting point right now where B&M is still popular, they're still holding on, but Vekoma is slowly but surely taking over. So that's something to look at over the next 5 to 10 years. Will B&M start to slow down even more and Vekoma take over? Let us know down in the comment section. What do you think? And while you're down there leaving a comment, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Helps against the YouTube algorithm and pushes this video and our channel out to as many people as possible. So any last thoughts on this?
I don't think so.
So that is it for this video. Thank you for coming and watching, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Beach Cliff Studios.